How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. The spot ETF is as close to a done deal as possible. We have some news coming out on some approvals, on some new documents. Some insiders at some of these companies are tweeting about what they're doing and maybe hinting at the fact that it's a big deal. It's close to being done. I want to talk about that. Also go over some charts from Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, show you what I'm looking at, along with a lot of other important alpha so that you can make as much money as possible. Now, if you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification underneath the video. That way you can see all the videos that I make in the future. I made 4 or 5 yesterday, and a lot of them covering a lot of important news, hopefully giving you some insights. I know a lot of people were freaked out yesterday because the market fell. Bitcoin fell down 10%, altcoins fell down 20%, but we were here capitalizing on it. Made a Solana trade up 70% in a day, took profits on that. Boom, 70%. It's crazy. When you have a level head and you are using a little bit of leverage, of course it is risky. Not everyone wants to do it. But if you are looking for an exchange to trade with leverage, there's a link down there to Margex where you can trade. You get a deposit bonus as well that can go towards some fees. They are a small boutique exchange, so they have really good customer service. Like if you have a question, you can write them. They have little bubble boxes in most of these tabs, and you can respond back to in just usually less than a minute, honestly. So definitely check out that link underneath the video. You can also trade a bunch of different cryptocurrencies with different forms of collateral. So you can trade Bitcoin with USDT or USDC or Bitcoin or XRP and grow your bags that way. Also, recently, we started HGAaccess, a private group, and we've had a lot of success recently. Yesterday, we talked about a small crypto. Keep in mind, it's risky, but FINK, it's a meme coin, and it went up 22% really quickly, moving up. You can see it here, huge move up, and now they're still small. Like they just submitted their request to CoinMarketCap, and we're giving alpha on plays like that. Also, a couple $1 million market cap plays, also large market caps. They talked about DYOR. It's up 40% in the last 24 hours. Now, to be clear, I do own some FINK. I told my Patreon yesterday I bought some. It's available on PancakeSwap. It's real small, though. So I'm not telling you to buy. I'm just telling you that that's something that I did, bought a little bit. Also, I know that they are just like really early on with the narrative of Larry Fink could be big. So if you want to check out HGAaccess, we have multiple videos usually going out every single day that are specific to people in this group. A lot of alpha players making a lot of money. Someone made 92% on a trade yesterday in the group. They told us that they were going to be buying some crypto, and then it went up 92%. So you can check out that link underneath the video to HGAaccess. Now, enough chitter chatter. Let's get into this. So we got news. Fidelity Bitcoin Trust has been approved for listing by CBOE. They still await their SEC final rule for official trading, but CBOE is the largest options exchange. And this isn't necessarily a stamp of approval by the SEC, but like I assume that these entities talk to each other, right? CBOE, why would they approve this if the SEC is not going to approve it on other exchanges? They say in a January 3 filing with the US SEC, the Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund said it intended to register its shares as securities listed on the CBOE BZX exchange. The Form 8A filing, while part of the process of registering an ETF with the SEC, did not necessarily suggest the commission would approve the investment vehicle. So they say, my understanding here is that this is just a securities registration. In order to list, the ETF still needs a 19B for approval, and they need an effective, approved, completed S1 document. And they are still looking for that next week. So just because they're approved on CBOE doesn't necessarily mean they're approved by the SEC. It doesn't mean that, but you can see all these things are falling into place. It's probably the most watched SEC decision ever. You can also see today Fidelity and Grayscale filing 8A forms showing progress for their spot Bitcoin ETF applications. We also know that the SEC scheduled meetings yesterday with the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and CBOE to finalize comments on the Bitcoin ETFs. Like, why would all these companies Why would all these government entities work so hard on something that they're just going to deny? It's a good question. Now, there always is a chance, right? They could always deny this, push it back a couple months. But this is as close to a done deal, I think, as you can get without them straight out saying we're going to approve it. We also got a tweet recently from Craig Salm. Now, Craig is the chief legal officer over at Grayscale. So he said, just filling out some forms. Kind of interesting, right? Like, seems like he's trying to indicate something. Now, we did see a dump yesterday. People so worried that the ETF was going to get denied. And that was just hogwash. That was just BS. Sounds like we don't know for sure. But again, we have Goldman Sachs. We have JP Morgan becoming authorized participants for some of these ETFs. We have so much interest. Everyone wants a piece. I think this is as close to a done deal as possible, like I said. Now, I do want to point out some charts that I'm watching. Also, I want to give a shout out. I like to give shout outs to creators that I think are doing well and are growing and have interesting content. Go check out Money and I. I'll put a link to him underneath the video, underneath the HGAaccess, and underneath the Margex links. But really cool channel, small, 123 subscribers, but really interesting. He's covering a lot really good quality videos. Definitely someone you should watch for the next bull run. Now, Bitcoin dominance. Really interesting here. Okay, so I know there are a lot of lines here, but let's just get rid of this line. You can see we flipped before. We flipped some resistance into support, then ran back up. This is over in October. We had a big run up on dominance, then fell back down, bounced back up in December to a max of about 55% dominance, and then fell. We broke through this trend line. A lot of people turned bearish. I also said, hey, this is something to watch. We also broke prior resistance. We fell below it, which we had always flipped before. But now we did keep some support as support, and now we're racing back up. So pay attention to this. I'm paying attention to see if we flip back over this line and turn it into support again, or if we just get rejected. That's pretty much what happened just a few days ago. We got rejected right back down. So I'm watching this. I'm also watching ETH BTC. Now, the reason I think these are so important is because we're bullish on crypto. If you're watching this, you're bullish, but you still need to think about where you want to invest in crypto. Of course, you can look at different narratives and stuff, but you want to know what season it is. Is it altcoin season? Is it Bitcoin season? Is it ETH season? And these charts show some of that. ETH, this is the ETH Bitcoin chart, has been in a downtrend. What this shows is it's just really weak compared to Bitcoin. We saw recently, we pushed back up to almost this trend line and then got rejected again. Now we're almost at the low for ETH Bitcoin valuation, but we are coming up on this key level about 0.05, right around there, that we had bounced off back in mid to late December. And we also bounced off a similar level back in June 2022. So this could be where we touch down and then break out. Again, these are just things to watch, to pay attention to, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it can give you some indication. Like if we break out above this and then confirm, like retest this line and then go back up, like maybe it becomes ETH season and you want to invest more into ETH. Solana dominance is also interesting. We're right at prior all-time highs. If it will load here, which it might not for some reason, but basically I put this line at the prior all-time high back in 2021 for Solana dominance, and we broke out above it, and now we're forming it almost as support, but we did break just below it too, just over the last 2 days. So I'm watching this to see, is Solana going to continue racing up? Now Solana did break 100 just a few minutes ago, and it just showed so much bullish momentum recently. I wouldn't be surprised if that continued, right? But I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of a dip because we have raced up so much. I mean, we went from $20 to $120 over just 2 months, 3 months. So watching these charts, just paying attention to what's happening in the market. Of course, a rising tide raises all ships. So everything's probably going to do well. I also want to point out this Bitcoin chart, super interesting. We were in this channel for the longest time. I did a lot of trading between October and December when we just bounced against this trend line, this ascending channel, then got rejected here and then bounced here. It was really easy to trade. Then we broke out above. Now, since then, we've been consolidating a bit, but we are flipping this channel into support. You can see here, we flipped it into support here, broke down below it, but then closed above it here, formed some support here, and we bounce off of it again. So if we can continue this, it's going to be really bullish, I think. Now, of course, I'm not only looking at TA. I look at fundamentals more than TA even, but I think TA is important for trading. I think it's beneficial, and I think it can help you get better buying in prices to really know what's happening. Now, of course, always do your own research. I'm not telling you to do anything, and I'm looking at very simple technical analysis here. I'm not looking at Fibonacci retracement or anything like that. I know some people do. I talked with someone yesterday that on the channel did a live video with them, and they covered a lot of that kind of information. We keep it simple here. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. Do you think this ETF is a done deal? I will say more and more people are commenting that I'm too bullish, like that we're just going to be stuck. Bitcoin's never going to go past 60,000. I've seen multiple comments from different people in the last day or two saying that. So I don't think we're fully priced in. Some people want to know too, I guess, like what happens after the approval. Do we move up? Do we move down? Is it a sell the news event? Is it a buy the news event? And as I said the last couple of days, I don't really know. It's impossible. No one knows. People will say they know, and then if they're wrong, they'll just say that they're wrong. And if they're right, they'll say that they knew that they were right. But no one knows exactly what's going to happen right after the ETF approval or denial, right? If we get denial, we'll probably fall. If we get the approval, we could probably just experience a lot of volatility, and then we could break out one way or the other. I will say during a bull market, good news usually means price moving up. It's just a question of how long, right? So I think this is a massive accomplishment. I think this is massive to get an ETF approved for Bitcoin. And whether that translates in the first few days or the first few weeks or the first few months, I don't really care, because I know that this is going to improve Bitcoin's price. It's going to improve the amount of people, or increase the amount of people that can get access to Bitcoin. So again, I'm not really looking short term. I've actually booked some profits in trading over the last few days. And I'm happy if we move up. I'm happy if we move down, because I can dollar cost average more. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, you can check out my Twitter to know some of the cryptos I'm buying, some of the smaller ones. You can also check out HGAaccess to get some more information. I have my own Patreon down there too if you want to know what I'm buying and selling. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video.